Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of InsurTech LA. My name is Gilad Shai and in this episode I'm happy to interview Andy Priesman. Andy, based out of Austin, Texas, is a true insurance entrepreneur, an insurance agent in his core. Now, 17 years ago, Andy founded Greenway Insurance and has been managing it since then. But today, we are going to focus on his latest venture, CoverDesk. Please join me for 30 minutes conversation with Andy. Hey Andy, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Gilad. Good to see you.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's always good to continue a conversation with you. So happy to be here.
No, I don't talk about that. That's forget it. Last time I think we met was most likely dig in at your home base in Austin or somewhere else. But, we're recording that in Halloween. And in a couple of days, we have the election. Don't tell me who you're voting to. But what did you dress up like?
So I've got two young girls, and at the last minute they decided to dress up. We were like, we're not going to go out this year, and then we ended up going out last night. And I had a little top hat on and a little like masquerade from New Orleans. So that's what I was. And then my girls were. One was a princess and the other one was like a scary doll. So, it's always fun times in our house. I think we had maybe 25% of like the normal, trick-or-treaters, in our neighborhood. But people were out and about, social distancing, they put blocked off their driveways and, 6 feet away. So, whatever works. So
that's great.
Yeah.
No, this is, we need a little bit of sanity and normal with all the hubbub that is going on. And again, we're recording it pre-election. So
just a couple days.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
So. It's going to be interesting. And I think that's enough preamble. Let's talk a little bit about insurance and why we gathered this lovely weekend. So you've been around for a while now.
I'm not the youngest guy in the room anymore. When I first started, I was the youngest guy with a bunch of old guys that have been in insurance for, 30, 40 years. And, I'd say, I've been at it since I started when I was 25 in the business. And it's changed quite a lot. And there's so much changing today that it's the most exciting time to really be in the insurance business, for really whatever you do, if you're trying to make change and, adopt and build technology and just change the landscape. So it's been fun. It's kind of been a crazy journey on my side. I started in the business with the New York Life Insurance Company, and then I was a farmer's agent and was captive to farmers. And then I realized, I need to find greener pastures, and then started an independent insurance agency. And here I am, I guess almost 18 years later, in the business. And basically, I started my career really as a independent insurance agent. And, over the last 3 years, I've spent most of my time building a company called CoverDesk that provides virtual assistance in the Philippines for, back office, client-facing and non-client-facing virtual assistants, really just to help insurance agencies and MGAs and InsurTechs on the agency side. We're seeing that there are so many employees that just stare at their phone all day long saying, please don't ring anymore. I have enough to do, because there's not enough process or technology in most of the independent agencies. So, we're changing that landscape. So it's been a great ride, and we still have a long way to go, in my opinion. So
yeah, I really like that, because this is when we don't see many agents, the soldier who fought in the trenches of insurance, that, the hand-to-hand battle of selling the next policy, that coming up and say, this is the technology that we need. This is what we need to build in order to be a better agent, a better agency. Most of the folks that, I would say in the past 4 or 5 years that we've seen, it's like, hey, I'm coming from tech or coming from X or whatever the background. usually it's a little bit more of corporate oriented,
Right.
enterprise oriented, and saying,
Sure.
I have this technology. Let me show you how I'm disrupting the world, which I'm sorry, I hate the word disrupt.
Right.
Enhance, improve, sure, no problem. Let's go with that. And I love the fact that you guys actually coming, yes, I've been doing agencies for so many years. This is how I can do it better. And especially that you know which technology you need in order to scale up the operation. So you also still have a position with Greenway?
Yeah, so I own Greenway Insurance, and we're about 20 people, maybe 20, I don't know, 20 something people in the U.S. and about another 20 people in the Philippines, and that's our back office team, and they support the U.S. team. So we're kind of split 50-50, and it's great. We have a wonderful leadership team. They allow me to kind of focus on the things that I want to focus on, because it's difficult running two
Mhm.
companies. So I really kind of leave it to our team, and they pull me in when they need me. But Greenway is really the beta tester of the cover desk side too, and we've learned a lot, and we can then go ahead and share everything that we've learned with our some of our cover desk clients, which has been great. So
I love the fact that you're eating your own dog food. That's
yes,
such a,
we're doing.
no, it's perfect. That's the best. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's, so
I
how,
like that. I like that phrase, dog food. I feel like I've eaten a lot of dog food over the years. So,
no, I'm sorry to say, it's sort of a, Silicon Valley kind of phrase. It's like, make sure that you taste or eat your own dog food, that
yeah.
you're, you know, testing
I
it.
mean, I never aspired to, get in the call, the BPO industry, because we're a virtual assistant company, but we're also a business processing outsourcing company in the Philippines. And I never aspired to do that. I had a friend who said, Andy, you should hire a virtual assistant for Greenway Insurance. This was several years ago. And I said,
Uh-huh.
why? I got, and then he kept going, and another friend did, they hired one, and I said, okay. So we said, okay, we'll hire a virtual assistant. And we said, well, what would we give them? 8 hours a day? And it turns out we could give them a lot of work to do, and we did it over and over and over. And here we are, almost 3 years into it, and we have covered us with almost 300 people in less than 3 years. So it's been a wild ride, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I've learned a lot, but I think we've got something very special in what we do, a little bit different, compared to maybe some other folks that are out there.
I love the fact that you already answered my next question, which is how did it all start, especially on Cover Desk? Can you tell me more about what are the lessons and how it helped you to scale up your operation?
Sure. So as far as like how it helps us, I guess in our agency operation, it's tough to find people that want to get in the insurance business, especially as an independent insurance agency. It's not sexy, it's not fun, it's a grind, every single day. So for us, it was, can we find hard workers? Can we find people that care about the opportunity? And that's really what it was about, and what it's about today, because the people that we hire, they care about the work they're doing, they care about the opportunity. As to where here, you have had people that have been in these agencies for years, and some of them are hiding behind their desks or their cubicles, and the output that they're giving just isn't anywhere close to where it should be, and what you could get done with a back office operation in the Philippines, what we've found over time. So
Mhm. No,
that's,
no,
it's
no, sorry.
been, yeah, it's been quite the journey. And then to say that, I guess, there's a lot of things that we didn't know of what they could do over there, in the Philippines, because we had to test everything, and we're learning new things, and we have different new lines of, LOBs that are coming on board, as to where the agency of the future, in our opinion, is really just going to be focused on selling and retention, and utilizing technology, and the people are going to be doing the higher revenue generating opportunities. As to where in the agency, you have a lot of people that are servicing policies, they're not bringing in new business, they can't grow, and the consolidation that's going on the agency side, over the next 5 years, it's all about the next 5 years, and who gets what. I mean, it's massive what's going on. The multiples have not changed even since COVID, as far as some of the large companies that are purchasing and acquiring agencies, and it's phenomenal. And there's a lot of opportunity out there, that's for sure.
So what other trends do you see?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of, look, as far as like there's so many different models out there, the aggregator, the network, the cluster, the franchise. And I think they're all trying to figure out what they're going to do. Maybe not the franchise, because you buy into a franchise, you're buying a program, a process, a name. But as far as like these aggregators, there's so many of them, and they're all now getting together about once a year to try to figure out what's going to happen, because so many agency owners are selling out or merging their agencies. And I just don't think, I think for the smaller agency, you're going to have to merge or you're going to have to sell to keep up with the times. You will not be able to keep up with the technology and the changes, in our opinion. I mean, I think agencies are going to have to live in an omni-channel environment, as to where now we're so fragmented. Agencies are fragmented. I mean, how many systems can somebody be in, day after day, aside from the carriers that you have to log into to complete quotes and do transactions? I think, it's a good 10 to 15 years away before every carrier has an API that you could, integrate with in some way, whether that's for the quoting side of it. I think that exists today. If you want to embed your software, with the carrier, but when it comes to the service, you still have to log into the carrier platform. And there's just a lot that goes on with that. So
Mhm.
I think for us, we really believe Salesforce is over the next 5 years is a key technology for agencies, and it's customizable. It's totally customizable. You can build it however you want to build it, and we think Salesforce is going to be the way to go, especially with everything else that's out there. I know the agency side, but that's what we're doing. We've adopted Salesforce, and we're building out technology for Greenway Insurance, and over time we'll utilize that for CoverDesk as well. And we've even built out some, rating type technology on the personal line side, so we can actually rate and quote inside of Salesforce, and we can now take the data points that we once had and do what we did in 20 minutes. We could do it in 4 minutes, and that's the name of the game, is speed, for certain functions, in our agency. So.
Now, first of all, I'm sure that people at Salesforce will be super happy about for the endorsement. And if anyone from Salesforce hears me, I'm more than happy to get you as a sponsor. So we can work about that.
Well, they're not paying me, by the way. I'm paying them, so a lot of
Oh,
money. So,
yes,
so
exactly.
so
Salesforce.
hopefully they call you. So.
No, and that's great, right? It's their part. Now it's more interesting to see, how with CoverDesk and your understanding of the different trends that we see within not just the technology, but other solutions until the technology will be ready.
I mean, I think, for us, we're still seeing the same trends that have been happening for years, and it's finally, there's a lot of great technology that's out there, and that's, coming on board, some new stuff that we're seeing. And then there's just a lot of junk that's out there, and people are being sold
Mhm.
the wrong things. But one thing that I do see is I see the larger agency management systems that have been around for over 2 decades, that they are finally coming on and saying, hey, we do need to open up, we do need to connect other companies um, to our AMS systems. And I think that is key for anyone that has an insurance agency. You can't just live in one system. You need to be able to connect your phones. You need to be able to connect your CRM, and maybe if it's not Salesforce, it's something else. There's got to be other connections that agencies need a lot of different things. So those companies have got to be open to that, as long as it's in a safe way. They've got to be open to that, or else somebody's just going to go create something better and faster, that's more scalable, in our opinion. And the agency management systems have been around forever, and you need them because you sell a policy, it downloads tonight at midnight, and how do you get that information from Progressive or Safeco or whichever company that you're working with? there's got to be new ways for that too. It can't just be that there's one company that's doing it all. So I think over time you're going to see the carriers getting smarter, and they're going to let you just connect directly to the carrier, and you don't need the middle person. And that's kind of what we think the future is, which is exciting part of it.
I'm a little bit sad hearing that, seriously, because the answer to all that you're saying is the ability to have an API that it's connect to a binding authority, and that's it. And
Yep.
just having that, you hit the API endpoint, you get a quote, then you hit the binding, you bind it, routes you to the billing, and voila, everything is technology. The fact that you still have it, you need to have your browser with 50 or 40 different tabs just to re-enter the information, or through
Right.
an integration via the AMS. Really depends on which AMS you're using, your own based on Salesforce or Delta 4 applied, etc., etc.
Sure. Yep.
It's still mind-boggling how it still exists. And you're talking about your estimation is 10 to 15 years now.
Maybe 10 to 15 is a stretch, but I do think if you're a personal lines agency, not every carrier even has an API, and the big ones have it, obviously, but there's so many different companies out there. And I think on the quote issue bind piece of it, like, yeah, that exists today, but when it comes to like the service side and like wanting to pay a bill, you have to log in directly to that carrier. So I think more or less, I think it's going to be longer to get that service side of the API versus the quote issue bind piece. So that's
Well,
just kind
yeah,
of how I feel about that.
no,
So
which is great, because that's the most important part, especially for this podcast. It's to get your opinion and
sure.
how you see things. So we're talking about now the call center. So cover desk. Now, the people in the Philippines, are they licensed agents?
They're all unlicensed people.
Amazing. So
They're
how did
processors. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to tell how you did it, because I think it's like, wow, that's
Um,
amazing that you have
I
a
know. I'm happy to tell the
US
story. Yeah.
license.
Yeah. So they're all non-licensed. So we started with a handful of people, and I had given a speech on virtual assistants back in 2018 before CoverDesk even existed. And a few friends said, "Hey, we want to hire some virtual assistants just like you." And me being the entrepreneur, I'm like, "Okay, we can do this." We went and got some virtual assistants. They're all working remote, working home based out of their home. Today, we're an office based company where we hold 250 people on our production floors. We have 2 different sites, and we're growing. So the issue for me in the beginning was, I'm this entrepreneur. I'm like, yeah, I'll figure it out on the way, and sometimes, entrepreneurs can do that in maybe the US, but in other countries that you don't really know and you don't know how to maneuver around, you learn very quickly what works and what doesn't. So in this case, we had to learn very quickly. There's a lot of labor laws, a lot of regulation, a lot of red tape. So I'd say we almost probably failed 5 or 10 times, but we were able to make it through. And we've got a wonderful company with great people on the ground, a great general manager and chief operating officer over there.
Hmm.
And it's tremendous what we've done in a very short amount of time, and I feel like we're just getting started. COVID has been rough. We moved probably 180 people in 3 days from
Oh.
our office to their house, and some people didn't even have an internet connection, so we had to go get them internet connections, and we had to move computers and all that stuff, along with many other companies around the world, while everyone works remote. But in a country like the Philippines, um, it's a lot harder when you don't have certain things that you need. So but it's been great, and we've grown. We're adding new clients every day, every week, and we have some gigantic, wonderful opportunities ahead of us, and we're excited about what the future holds. And I think you'll even see CoverDesk kind of turn into more than just a people company that uses their clients' technology, because today we're utilizing the technology of our clients and their line of business applications. So with time, CoverDesk will start to implement, whether it's a partnership with technology that we think is great and that can help our clients. We want to be able to partner with companies that can help us, and then maybe even build out some of our own proprietary technology that would be useful for our clients as well. So we're excited about what all that looks like. So
Oh, listen, most definitely. I can see that, as you were entering basically as a call center or a specialized call center, we've seen all kinds of insurtechs that are going into that. If it's Hippo, Cover Wallet, I think that they did one in upstate New York. The technology will give you that advantage and the efficiency that you're looking as you operate a specialized call center. And it's super important. Can you share some sort of a lesson that you learned that your customer are enjoying?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
Mhm.
Sure. So, when I first started Cover Desk, we didn't think we could provide training because every agency is different. They all have a different process, a different procedure. You're on a different management system. You have different carriers. We learned very quickly that if we did not provide some sort of, all of our people are experienced. They're coming from the BPO industry, the business processing outsourcing industry, the call center industry, working for companies like Verizon, AT&T, Uber, PayPal. So they come from these large companies. Often those companies aren't the best or easiest places to work. In the call centers, it's you're taking 80 100 calls a day from irate customers about why their internet doesn't work. So what we learned very quickly is that we have to provide training to our virtual assistants. So we learned very quickly that we needed trainers and we needed subject matter experts and we needed operations managers and team leaders. So we have an entire organization of experts, and we are really teaching people insurance. So if you're looking for a virtual assistant that knows insurance, because you can't read off of a script. When you're in these call centers, they often sound scripted. You cannot script insurance. It's impossible. There's just too
Yeah.
much, whether it's commercial lines or personal lines. You have to learn it, and it's ongoing training as needed from the client and on our end. And we always have our trainers and SMEs available. So they go through about a 4-week training. And then after 4 weeks, they're in production and they're kind of continuing that training. They're in what we call like a nesting phase. So they're sticking with us, and we have good retention because the work they're doing is not it's repetitive, but you have to use your knowledge. You have to use what you learned, and it's not the same thing every day. Insurance is different every day, and you have to use your brain. So they love it, and we see them sticking with us for a long time, and we've been able to create a wonderful family of insurance people in the Philippines.
Now, where are you based in the Philippines?
We're in Manila. We're in a city
Mm.
called Quezon City, which is
Mhm.
part of Metro Manila. So we have a beautiful office that we just built. We're in the process of building out the other side. So we'll have the whole floor of that office. We do believe in an office environment. It's a little bit harder to operate out of your home. We think after 8 months, so, we can
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
I miss
And
the
we
office.
always, yeah,
Yes.
we always had people home based, and it was wonderful. But then we got the office, and then COVID came, and I'm like, we got to get back to the office. So we're now back in our office. We're doing training. We have about 15, 20 people in the office, but we're still 100, like we're basically all remote. So um,
So
it's,
I miss the office, and as much as I like my apartment and my office here at home, um, blackboard or whatever that may be,
sure.
still missing, the vibe that we have in the office. It doesn't matter how much Zoom or other things
Yeah.
that we have open 24-hour, not the same. Yeah, no, the Philippines is amazing. Well, many, many years ago when I was with Intel, I had a team at Cavite. Since then, they closed that factory and moved
Yeah.
everything to Malaysia. But most definitely, that was a great experience as well. And I, for you, I imagine just building that up. And I don't know if you snorkel or not, if you scuba dive.
I don't
That
scuba dive, but I've been to Palawan, Boracay. Anytime I go, we make a trip to the beach for sure. So,
Yeah, and they have amazing food as well. And that's
oh yeah,
so many different great things there over there. So, sorry, jumping back to the insurance and the business, who is your perfect customer, or who would you like, to reach out to you? And don't forget, I will add your email and how to contact you. Who
sure.
is it? Mhm.
So, for us, I think, we want to work with InsurTechs. We want to work with carriers and MGAs, not just, we started with the independent insurance agencies, and there's a lot of traction there. We do have some MGA clients that focus on, their clients are independent insurance agencies, but we would love to work with some InsurTechs, people looking for back office support, whether it's a carrier needing, first notice of loss, or billing support, or the things that um, can be done without a license.
Hmm.
Those are the things that we do well with, and we're looking for some BPO opportunities, not just the virtual assistant, where the client handles the virtual assistant along with us, because our virtual assistants, although they're in our office in the Philippines, they work directly with the clients, which are different than the BPO companies, where you would never meet the American client or the Canadian client. So we are looking for some of those opportunities, and we've got some of those on the horizon, which we're super excited about. So really, anything that's insurance related in the P&C side, that's going to be our focus, and that's going to be what we do best.
And your folks who are licensed as agents in the US, they serve a Greenway or they serve
They,
other?
yeah. We don't. So CoverDesk doesn't have any licensed people yet. That's
Hmm.
on the horizon. We are talking about that. I do think that CoverDesk will eventually turn into something of a licensed, some licensed opportunities. Maybe it's 20% in the U.S. and 80% in the Philippines. I think there's some opportunities there for us on the small commercial side, where we can service a small
Yeah.
commercial and personal lines as well, for some of the larger agencies that just say, hey, we want you to handle our small business unit, and we become more of a service center for some of those agencies. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
that
some
makes
stuff that
sense.
we're yeah, and as long as you can give the service and the support that's needed, and the client gets what they need in a great way, I think that's kind of where the future lies. The carrier service centers do a wonderful job, but at the same time, it's for an agency, it's one carrier, and if there could be a way to kind of us service multiple carriers, you know, we think that's a great opportunity. So.
Well, I think that before we finish here, you're a super busy person. You're running two companies, you have two daughters, family. That's a full job. That's a
That's
full-time,
definitely a full.
three full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Anytime now with COVID, do you have any time to relax? Any recommendations on a book or something that we can check out in Netflix or Apple?
Yeah, so I definitely have time to relax. I think that's I used to travel all the time, so I feel like I'm more relaxed now, just being at home, being with my family more. I think as far as like books, I was reading Steve Anderson wrote a book. I don't know if you know Steve. He's been in the insurance industry for a
Mhm.
long time, and he wrote a book about Amazon, and so I've been reading that a little bit.
That's not
Um,
relaxing, my friend.
what's that?
That's not relaxing.
No, you're right. That's probably not super relaxing. So I love to travel. So we just took a road trip in an RV. I would not say that was relaxing either, because you have two girls, and it doesn't take 13 hours to get to Colorado in an RV. It takes about 18. But it was fun, and we enjoyed it, and we think that we'll do some more traveling, by car and things like that until things get better. But we love to travel. And as far as like Netflix, I just watched The Founder for like the second
Oh,
time. I don't know if you've seen The Founder,
yeah.
the McDonald's story, and
Mhm.
that's a good one. So but other than that, I'm just kind of focused, staying in my lane, making sure that everything that we've built over the last 3 years, almost 3 years with CoverDesk, just stays the same. And that's kind of where my focus has been. So.
Great. And if people want to reach out to you, how can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. You can send me a message on LinkedIn and connect with me, or you can send me an email. The email is easy. It's just andy@coverdesk.com, and that's the best way to reach me.
Fantastic. Andy, thank you very, very much for sharing your journey with us and, have an amazing election day.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to always visit, and I hope that we can get together for the next dig in Austin,
Oh, that,
um, or even ITC next year, and hopefully we can connect.
yeah, between that or any one of the face-to-face conference, that will be great, especially, well, for me, I'm a big fan of barbecue. So every time I'm in Austin, it's like,
I'll take you for the best. I mean,
who's the best? Who's the best?
People will tell you like,
Oh.
oh, Franklin's is the best. Who wants to wait in line for like half a day, to go there? And maybe people can get in for like the different tech events that are going on because companies will have parties and things like that. But there's a lot of great places. Like one place that I like is called Style Switch. It's kind of like North Central Austin, and I think that's great. It's probably on the same wavelength as a Franklin's, but probably doesn't have the name recognition as the other one. So,
Yeah,
but
that's better. It
yeah,
means shorter lines.
yeah, I don't wait in line for food. It's just not worth it. So
Oh man, I can talk about that, but that will be for a different episode.
absolutely.
Andy,
Well, hey, thanks so
thank
much.
you.